And joining us now is Democratic Senator Shaheen of New Hampshire. She's one of the 8 Democrats who voted with Republicans to reopen the government and was directly involved in shutdown negotiations. Senator Shaheen, first, I have to thank you for your patience with all that breaking news this morning. I know you've been waiting for a while. We really appreciate you doing that and joining us for this conversation. You, of course, have faced... Thank you. You've faced a lot of criticism, I know, from Democrats, including from your own family. The New York Times highlighted in a story this week your daughter, Stephanie.
I would disagree with that, Anna, because it wasn't criticism. It was just a disagreement. And anybody who has independent children understand that they have their own minds. And that's
true.
Why she's going to be a great congresswoman.
Yeah, well, you point that out beautifully, that, yes, there are disagreements, even in families, but I think it also highlights that you weren't, in this case, aligned with much of your party, including people within your family who would oftentimes want to support you and what you are doing. And there are a lot of other Democrats we've heard who obviously are angry, given the backlash that has come from members of your party, family and otherwise. Do you have any regrets for your vote and for hammering out this particular deal?
Absolutely not. My only regret is that Donald Trump and the Republican majorities in the House and Senate haven't understood how important it is that we address the high costs of health insurance. They have taken every opportunity to try and undercut the Affordable Care Act. That's what this issue is about. So we need to stay united. This government shutdown has put front and center before the American people the importance of affordable health care. That's what we need to continue to rally around and stay behind and get done. Because now that the government shutdown is over, what we've heard from the White House, what we've heard from the majorities, the Republican majorities, is that they understand they've got to come to the table and help get some relief for the 20 million Americans who are seeing their health insurance costs rise.
But no guarantees. They may have acknowledged that this is a problem, but no guarantees.
Well, there are never any guarantees. And unfortunately, in Donald Trump, we have a president who is willing to let Americans suffer indefinitely. I'm glad I stood up for the 42 million Americans, 75,000 of them who are in New Hampshire, who need food assistance. I'm proud I stood up for the 2 million federal workers who want to go back to work and want to get paid, including National Guard in New Hampshire, including our workers at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. I'm proud that I helped to end the chaos in the skies and make sure our air traffic controllers can get paid and that we can relieve some of the stress on them so they don't have to work 2 jobs in order to support their families. So we have a lot of work to do. That's right. But as Democrats, we need to stay united and remember who the problem is. The problem is Donald Trump and the Republican majorities, and we need to stay focused on them.
The reality is millions of Americans are still worried about skyrocketing health care premiums. And while Leader Thune agreed to a vote, let me just finish, because I think it's important to put all of it in context, right? You did get an agreement for a vote in the Senate on those ACA subsidies. So that was progress. But House Speaker Johnson hasn't committed to anything. Senator, we reported on one family of 4 earlier this week whose monthly premium could jump from $1,200 to more than $3,500. Again, a month without these subsidies. Can you guarantee those hikes won't happen?
Well, it's outrageous. And that's why we need to get Republicans to the table, and that's what we need to work on. Listen, I understand as well as anybody the importance of these premium tax credits to help families. I'm the one who introduced the legislation in 2019, got it into the COVID package in the early 2000s, got it into the Inflation Reduction Act. It's the first legislation I introduced this year. I've worked 3 times to try and get a unanimous consent motion past the Republicans in the Senate to get this passed. We need to do this for all the people who are suffering. And Donald Trump would be well advised to recognize that 76% of the people who benefit from these premium tax credits are people who live in red states who voted for him. The Republican House should understand that 57% of these premium tax credit holders are in states that are Republican congressional districts. So there is a lot of incentive. We're already talking to Republicans and Democrats in the House to Republicans and Democrats in the Senate about how to move legislation forward to provide some relief for people.
There's also been a lot of backlash over the Senate Republicans, squeezing in at the last minute this provision in the deal to reopen the shutdown that allows senators to sue the government because their phone records were subpoenaed as part of the January 6th investigation. I know you've already said you didn't know that was added to the bill. How did that end up in the bill? And would you have voted differently if you had known?
I think you need to ask leadership about those provisions in the Senate, and certainly we need to work to get them out.
Meantime, federal workers are soon going to have their first paycheck in over a month, which I know is really important to you. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, and to them, exactly, to the country. Kristi Noem, though, announced yesterday that the administration is going to pay TSA agents $10,000 bonuses for working during the shutdown. What do you make of that move, and any idea where that money's coming from?
I don't have any idea, Anna, and usually, as you know, and most Americans know, that when Congress passes legislation, the money is supposed to be used for the purposes that are designated by Congress. And so I don't know where she's getting the money. I think it's wonderful that we provide additional help for federal workers, but we need to do it. If we're going to provide help for workers in TSA, then we need to provide that help for air traffic controllers, for other federal workers. One of the benefits of this package that we supported is that it requires the administration to bring back those employees who were let go during the shutdown. It provides for their back pay, and it provides protections for them going forward. So I think Congress needs to ask the Secretary of Homeland Security where she's getting that money and what she's taking it from, and why she's not providing it to all federal employees who are within her department.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.